Hi there, this is David and welcome to the Top 10 Worst JRPG Party Members Part 4. Here, we'll be recounting characters from classic RPGs who are just terrible in battle. Surprisingly, I still have people on my list that I need to rip a new one even after creating this video. So, look forward to an eventual Part 5, and let's hop on board the hate train and get started. Number 10, Sharla of Xenoblade. I can hear the chorus in the comments right now. The main healer? How could you possibly put the best healer on this list? Well, let me tell you. Basically, it's because that's all she can do. It's not like she's the only one that can heal the party too, so she's pretty heavily outclassed by everybody else around her, especially once you get Riki, whose healing over time techniques are just so strong, and he can stack his damage over time spells on the enemies too. All Sharla can do is heal and shoot with her gun, and for most randoms, Shulk's healing abilities are perfectly serviceable. So you may have to pull her in for a few super bosses towards the end of the game, but that's all that she's really good for. For 99% of it, she's just going to be sitting there on the sidelines, watching, while everybody else slaughters the mobs much more efficiently. Number 9, Komari of Final Fantasy X. Blue mages are normally some of the best characters that you can get in the game. First introduced in Final Fantasy V as the most versatile class there was, Square toned them down a bit with Strago, but then beefed them up again in 7 and 9 with the enemy skill material and Kina. Say what you will about Kina as a character, but in battle, she was the bomb. Komari, on the other hand, not so much. Unfortunately, you can only use his blue magic as an overdrive, which makes him situational at best, but worse than that, he's the only character who doesn't have a dedicated sphere grid, so no matter what you do, he'll always lag behind the others. I get what they were trying to do here. Square was allowing the player a bit of customization over how to raise him up. And yeah, you could go into Riku's path and get steal and use early in the game, so I guess he's okay for that. But really, at the end of the day, he's just redundant. Number 8, Boney of Mother 3. My first thought when it came to Mother 3 was Salsa, the much maligned monkey that you can't help but love, but I just couldn't do it to him. You only play as him for one chapter, and he does have some pretty nifty skills, and the poor little guy is tortured the entire time. Boney, on the other hand, is an entirely different story. He's an item mule. Nothing more. The Mother series has a long tradition of characters who specialize in using items, but Lloyd and Jeff get unique items that only they can use, which deal massive damage or have a multitude of different effects. Not so much with Boney here. He's fast, I'll give him that, so it's good to use him as a healer in a pinch, but he really can't do much else. His equipment options are severely lacking, he can't use any PSI at all, and, to make matters worse, sometimes when you use a food item on another character, Boney will actually eat it instead. I mean, yeah, he's just a dog, I get it, but there's been some kick-ass dogs in JRPG before, and poor Boney is not one of them. Number 7, Griz of Phantasy Star 4. Yeah, Seth exists too, but let's discount him for a minute since, well, you know, I don't want to spoil anything. So let's move on to an actual endgame character, Griz. I've never really understood the strong, slow tank archetype. Like, isn't having no magic whatsoever enough of a handicap for these guys? Why do they have to be slow as molasses too? People like Samson from Beyond the Beyond, all of the Armor Knights in Fire Emblem, and Bowser from Super Mario RPG all come to mind just off the top of my head. And Griz isn't going to be the last of his kind that you'll see in this video. He's slower than Grandmother Moses, only able to use 3 different skills which are all highly situational, and speed is essential to perform well in randoms and against bosses. He can just hit them, so he's not really much of a team player. Number 6, Judith of Tales of Vesperia. Why does Namco think that we will excuse horrible characters as long as they have their dual assets hanging out? We've seen this first with Sheena, and now it crops up again with Judith. On the surface, she looks really cool. She talks the talk, but she can't walk the walk. She's essentially a dragoon, wielding a spear and fighting best in the air, able to pull off some killer aerial combos. At least in theory, because unless you're some kind of Tails expert, controlling her is just an effort and frustration, and her hitboxes are all over the place. So just put her on AI and control somebody else, right? Well, her AI is easily the worst in the game as well, so you're really just better off benching her. If you really have your heart set on fighting in the air, do yourself a favor and check out Tales of Hearts, which did aerial combat much more fluidly and more intuitively, and you're less likely to break your controller that way. Number 5. Bao of Lufia, the Ruins of Lore. What's the point? I don't understand why he even exists. Lufia, the Ruins of Lore uses a job class progression system for the 3 main characters where they can learn new skills and master jobs by fighting battles, much like in Dragon Quest 6 and 7. Bao, though, can't learn any jobs whatsoever. So you might think that he has other innate skills to make up for this shortcoming, but no. From the moment that he joins up, he's completely outclassed by everybody else and never catches up. Mercifully, he leaves eventually for the awesome Dakar to join up with you, but then, because this awful game hasn't tortured you enough, he joins back up with the gang and then you have to take him on to the end. Yeah, he's strong, but so is everybody else, especially Dakar. And he's actually relevant to the plot. Why couldn't he just join up with you and Bao go fall off a cliff or something? Number 4. Massimo of Mega Man X Command Mission. Another day, another tank. Being able to deal a lot of damage with a physical attack, while nice, isn't exactly a game-breaking ability, so I don't understand why developers have to handicap these characters so much. It's never like they can deal something like twice as much damage as everybody else. It's always something paltry like 10% more. These slow-ass tanks are just not worth it, especially because this game uses a Final Fantasy X turn order system. So it's not like everyone gets an attack every single round like a traditional turn-based affair. Therefore, his speed, or lack thereof, really sticks out like a sore thumb here. Add to the fact that he naturally takes 50% more damage from elemental attacks and only has 2 force metal slots, you'll be looking to replace him before long. Thankfully, Zero comes along, who outclasses him in every single way from Sunday as another strong but slow character. Number 3. Nina from Breath of Fire 3. As a staple character in the series, you would have think that Capcom would have put some more thought into her character in this iteration. But unfortunately, not only is Nina insufferably annoying outside of battle, in battle, she is without question the absolute worst character that you can have. Here's the problem with Nina. She's a typical black mage, but her stats are abysmal with the exception of her MP growth, and the spells that she learns aren't even all that great. And, to make matters worse, she goes for 12 long levels where she gains no other offensive spells. Also, black magic is easily obtained through the Master System, so you could load other, more durable characters such as Momo with it. In fact, you're really better off replacing her wholesale with Momo and just teaching her black magic through the Masters to effectively make her into a sage. Number 2. Kangol of Legend of Dragoon. Here we have yet another strong and slow tank. Earlier we saw Griz and Massimo, but Kangol is on a whole nother level. Because of the way that the turn order works in Legend of Dragoon, it's possible for other characters to get multiple turns before this slow-ass loser even gets one. And if there's one thing that I've learned over my 37 years on this earth, it's that no matter how good a character could be, if another character is getting 2 turns to their 1, they're pretty much trash. Add to the fact that he has pretty much no magic defense whatsoever too, so bosses routinely one-shot him with a blast of black magic. Therefore, you can't really even rely on him to tank properly, so again I ask you, what's the point? And finally, number 1, Goombario of Paper Mario. Goombario has a lot of problems. As the first partner that joins Mario on his quest, you have to use him, but then he's going to be immediately replaced by all the other stronger partners that join up with you later. The problem with the poor little Goomba is that he doesn't specialize in anything, whereas all the other partners have specific niches to fill. Add to the fact that he's easily the weakest of them, and his jumping abilities overlap with Mario's, and he's just lackluster as well as redundant. The only thing that he has going for him is his Tattle ability, which allows him to point out enemy weaknesses and stats if you use it outside of battle. It'll also give you some humorous descriptions of the people that you meet, so he's good for a novelty, I guess. But even when you look at his characterization, there's just not all that much there. He might as well not even exist for how often he speaks up or takes part in the plot. He's just the definition of a basic bitch. Well, that's it for the top 10 worst JRPG party members part 4. What are your worst party members? Let me know in the comments. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.